Great. Well, lovely to see you all. Some faces haven't seen for a little while, or a face, which is really nice. Yeah, so tonight we're going to look at the lower back again. Seems to be the perennial request in most bodies. Hey, boys. And also feet. So this is actually a really good theme, these two. I've just had a whole day of delving into and filming a session about feet, and how the feet are the end and the start of all the different fascia lines in the body. So fascia being the connective tissue that runs through everything, the muscles, the bones. It all kind of begins and ends in the feet. And one of the main fascial lines, so it tends to travel through strong lines through the body, connects the feet up through the legs and the pelvic floor and all our deep core to the lower back, because the lower back is part of our deep core. So if we have weak feet or tight feet, not very connected to our feet, which does tend to happen with age, it's very common to be falling over when you're older because we lose this connection to our feet, then we're probably going to have lower back and hip issues as well. It's like we don't have that pliability, that elasticity to shock absorb and move with wisdom and alignment, and the back and the hips tend to take the majority of that strain. So brilliant, as always. The theme is just perfect. So let's just start lying down, and we'll just begin to tune into the feet. We'll stretch the arms overhead. You might recognize some of these moves, Linda, in Involute this week. So we're just going to take a full body stretch, and as we do so, we're going to just flex and point the feet. Just flex, bring the toes towards the shin, and then point the toes away. Just do that a few times. You can coordinate with the breath if you wish, or just any pace. But as you are doing this, obviously we can feel how that's stretching and opening the ankle joint and starting to open the fascia of the feet. As you flex, also flex the toes towards the top of the foot as well. So there's like a dual flex in the feet. But also tune into your lower back. And just notice how as we move the feet and the ankles, that the kind of hinge of the body, the lower back and the hips, is also moving around a little bit. So this just shows this direct connection up through this fascial line. And then just take the toes towards each other. So you might need to take the feet a bit wider. Just inwardly rotate so the toes come towards, and externally rotate, trying to get the outer ankle towards the floor. And again, we're mobilizing the lower legs, ankles, and feet, but we're also, if you tune in, opening the sacral area as we inwardly rotate, and compressing the sacral area, tensing the buttocks as we externally rotate, and the hips are moving in their sockets. So again, we feel this direct connection. And then just come back to neutral, both toes pointing up towards the ceiling, and just press the right heel forward you're not moving the left hip, you're just kind of extending through the right side of the body as if you're trying to touch something just out of reach with your right heel. So you might feel the right heel just slightly go in front of the left, and holding and then release. And feel how the hips and the sacrum come back to alignment when you release. And then do the same with the left. Just press that left hip forward. You're not moving the right hip back, but it might feel like it's coming back. But you'll press the left heel forward and feel the whole of the pelvis and the belly and the hips move, and then release. Come back to neutral. Let's take a couple of big belly breaths. And then we're going to take the right foot up to the ceiling. We're going to do our classic hamstring stretch, which is also wonderful for the lower back. As I said last week, I pretty much do this every day at the moment. So take the strap around the widest part of your right foot. If you prefer, bend the left foot, bend the left knee rather, or you can extend the left leg. Let's press up through the heel, and let's again articulate the ankle joints. So draw the toes towards the shin. Flex the toe joints as well. When we flex the toe joints as well as the ankle joint, then we stretch the sole of the foot fascia even more. Active leg, active foot on both legs if the left leg's straight. Deep breaths, deep, full breaths, relaxing the arms, relaxing the shoulders. And when you've been here for a few breaths, you might just want to play with your edge. We're not forcing, we're warming up, but maybe you can draw the toes a little bit more towards the wall behind you. Breathing deep. Great. And then we're going to release the strap, but keep the leg up. And you can just interlace your hands around the thigh. You can put a bit of a bend in the leg. That's fine. We could bend the left knee if you prefer, or keep it extended. And again, we're just going to flex and point the foot side to side. And then circle that right ankle. So it's really good for our legs, our lower legs, our ankles, to do these ankle mobilizations with the leg extended into the air. So this is helping to drain excess fluid that might gather there during the day. Change direction in your foot circles. And we want to do these foot circles until we feel like a fatigue in the foot muscles, which usually doesn't take too long. So if you don't yet feel a fatigue, change direction again. If you do, you can release. And change direction again. I'm starting to feel it. And then let's just release the knee to bring that right knee into the right side of the chest. So just stretching out through the psoas muscle here, pushing out through the left heel. Deep breathing. So from here, raising the left leg, taking a strap around the widest part of the left foot, flexing, first of all, that ankle on both feet if the right leg's extended, or you can bend the right leg. And then also flexing the toes. It can be really intense. Yeah, I've been diving deep into fascia today, and I learned today that the fascia has at least 10 times the amount of nerve endings than muscle tissue. So that's why when we start to open up a fascia, it's like really intense, can feel really intense. So there's the tightness of the muscle, but there's also this tightness of the fascia that we're opening here, especially if we flex the toes. Again, after a few breaths in, we might want to just explore that edge, see if we could bring the toes closer towards the back of the room, straightening the leg as much as we can. Don't force those. And then release the strap. Keep the leg up. You can put a bend in the leg. You can interlace the hands around the back of the thigh. And we'll just flex and point and feel how this is working the lower leg, the ankle, the foot fascia. But maybe you can also feel it in the pelvic floor, because we're also activating the pelvic floor muscles and even the lower belly muscles on the left side here through the fascia line. Let's see if you can tune into that subtlety of sensation side to side. It's hard to do side to side. As best you can. You have to kind of flex the foot a bit as well. And then circles. And again, we'll just keep going for a bit longer here so that we can just start to work these muscles a bit. It's like, especially because we wear shoes all the time, most of us, our foot muscles tend to get a bit redundant, a lot of them, and weak. Change direction. They're supposed to be, there's many, many muscles in the feet and bones and joints, and it's supposed to all be responsive to uneven terrain. But when we wear shoes, we don't need to do that so much. So they get weak. Okay, and if you feel tired, come down, but if you don't, change direction again. You want to kind of feel the heat in the foot. And change direction again. And then bending the knee, hug the left knee into the left side of the chest, hopefully feeling a kind of buzzing aliveness in the feet and the ankles here. And let's just bring the right leg up to join the left leg and come into happy baby. Working with the lower back, taking some deep breaths into the lower back, holding the outside edges of the feet or the ankle or the back of the knee. And then from here, just bring both feet to the floor. I'm going to do one of my favorite foot awareness things. So just really spread your toes, just wriggle and spread and broaden your toes on the floor here. So it's like space, as much space as you can between the toes. And just really spread the soles of the feet into the floor. And just really feel that sense of connection between the skin of your feet and the floor. And then we're going to come into the thread the needle shape. So pick up the right foot. Actually, just bring the right foot down again, sorry, for a moment. Just really tune in to that feeling of the interconnectivity between your feet and the floor. And just notice any difference between the sides. And just really, just be super aware of what that feels like and kind of just like lodge that in your memory. Okay, then we're going to pick up the right foot and flex the right foot, but we want the ankle to be free. So usually when we do thread the needle, we put that ankle right on the front of the left thigh, but we're sliding it a bit further over to the left so that the ankle's free. Okay, and then at this point, ideally, we want to pick up the left foot to get a bit more stretch in the outer thigh, and we're going to keep the head on the floor and bring your left hand, stabilize your right leg with your right hand just above the ankle or on the foot. And then with your left hand, come in from the left, so from the sole of the foot side, and thread your fingers through the gaps between the toes. So your little finger goes between the little toe and the fourth toe, and then so on up the toes. And it can be quite tricky if you don't have open feet. And you might need to use your other hand to help to kind of push the toes forward to get, because you want to get the fingers as deeply in as possible. You want to get the kind of root of between the fingers as close to the root between the toes as possible. And then at this stage, you could put the left toes back on the floor. Sorry, yeah, the left toes back on the floor if that's more comfortable, or you can keep them hovering. And we're going to start to draw circles with the left hand on the right foot. So try to maximize the range of mobility. And it's like we're using our fingers as toe separators. You can actually buy yogi toe separators. I do have some and they're brilliant. They're basically doing this. It's like a little weird contraption. A bit like when you're painting your toenails. Not that I ever do that, but you could use those, I suppose, and change direction. But we're kind of doing the same thing with our hands. And we're articulating the ankle joint, but we're also really opening the fascial feet. And then come to rest. And we're going to flex the toe joint with the hands. So you press the toes towards the top of the foot using your hands. So squeeze with your hands the toes forward. Squeeze the hands into the feet, or the left hand into the foot. Feel that stretch. Make sure your head's resting on the floor and you're comfortable. And then release that and do the opposite. Squeeze the toes into the hands. So it's like you're scrunching up your toes and tightly activating the muscles in the toes to squeeze into the hands. And then release. Gently extricate the fingers. Place the right foot back down on the floor next to the left foot. And again, we just take a little moment to tune in and notice. Does the right foot feel different from the left foot? How it's meeting the earth? Does it feel more grounded, more connected, more open, more heavy? Or what does it feel like? And don't worry if you don't feel a difference. Exploring. And then just spread and open your right toes again and see if that's a little bit easier than it was last time. And then we'll go to the other side. So thread the needle, but slightly different. Push the foot a little bit further over to the right so the ankle is free. I usually pick up the right foot to begin with at least. Keep the head on the floor so you don't create tension in the neck, and feed, come in from the right with your right hand from the sole, and feed the fingers through the toes as much as you can. So I know for some people, myself included, this is incredibly intense and I can't go all the way, but we just do what we can. And we know that the intensity is because the fascia is tight and the muscles are tight. And if our feet muscles are tight, then things are out of alignment higher at the body. As I say, this is like the root of everything. And I definitely do have quite a lot of stuff going on in my pelvis, as I'm sure you all do. I doubt any of us are totally symmetrical, but this is all going to help bring balance. If you wish, place your right feet on the floor again, your right foot, toes, and then start to steer the left foot in as big a circles as you can. If you have bunions or kind of issues with the feet and there's real pain, grating, joint pain, and obviously you don't need to do this if it's creating pain for yourself. But if it's just that intensity of fascia opening and muscle opening, then kind of know it's that good intensity. And change direction, articulating that ankle joint as best you can. I love how connected we all are. I've been obsessed with feet today. I've been walking barefoot. I've been resolved to take my foot opening to a whole new level and really work with my feet, commit to that. So this is perfect. Okay, and then come back to the center and release. Well, don't release, actually. Just squeeze the hand into the foot to flex the toe joint. As I said, you will have to bear with me this evening. It's incredibly hot here, and it's proven that above a certain degree, your brain starts to fail you, words start to fail you, and I think we're above that temperature in Portugal. Okay, feeling that open the fascia. And then release and come the other way. Squeeze the toes into the hand. Tight, tight, tight. Sustain. And release. Gently remove fingers from toes, place the foot down, place both feet down, and just feel what that feels like. I don't know about you, but it all just feels a little bit more loose and floppy and open for me, a bit more pliable, a bit more connected, a bit more relaxed. You can relieve a lot of tension and patience. Here we're going to come up to seated, so just you can roll to one side or come straight up using your arms, and we're going to come up to this position where we've got the feet about mat distance apart, and if you need the support, if you feel like you're going to collapse, if you do have a weak lower back, then you can keep your hands back for support, but if possible, bring your hands onto your knees, and this in itself is strengthening the lower back. It's a bit like doing boat, kind of mild boat without taking the feet off the floor. So we're drawing the lower belly and we're lifting out of the lower back, and if you feel able to, we're going to bring the hands up to cactus arms, so right angle with the palms facing forward. We're going to inhale at the center, we're going to drop both knees to the right and twist with it. Just let your body twist as far as it wants to twist, don't force it, and then inhale back to the center and twist to the left. And what's going to happen is you're going to slowly move forward up your mat. That's fine, just let your feet go to wherever they want. So we're inhaling center, exhaling right, twisting as we go, inhaling center, keep the belly drawing in, lifting out to the lower back, exhale left. Just keep that going a few more times. At some point you might arrive at the front of your mat and have to kind of wriggle backwards. Just do a few more, maybe like 4 or 5 on each side, depending what pace we're going. Try not to use your upper body, so try to keep the elbows in line with the shoulder and feel that the hips and the feet are being involved in the mobility here. It's like we're walking with our hips and our heels and feet. Okay, so I think we went to the right first, so next time you come back from the left, we'll finish this. Coming back to neutral. And maybe just taking the bum back a little bit and just pause again with the hands on the knees, just lifting up this kind of mild boat, which is creating stability, feeling this connection now between the front body, the back body, both holding the spine in place. Often chronic lower back pain, which seems to be chronic amongst a lot of people, is because we're not using our core, and maybe because of our feet as well. So really feeling that core connection, pelvic core connection. Okay, and then a little bit the same, but slightly different. Come to Dandasana and stretch the legs out in front of you. And we're actually going to, again, walk with our hips and our heels at the same time. So from here, we're going to just take the right foot forward, lean to the right, take the left foot forward. And again, at some point, we're going to come to the front of the mat. Don't use your hands, don't use your upper body, just take a little walk and feel this connection, this deep front line. There's an activation, keep the legs quite active, an activation from the soles of the feet, runs up the back of the lower legs, inner seam of the thighs and up to the pelvic floor. And when you get to the end of the mat, come back, walk back. It's a little bit weird. We're kind of delving into the realms of somatics, ways of using our body to bring intelligent use of our body back. Yoga is a somatic practice, but there is also somatics in itself, which uses these kind of little exercises. Okay, but we will do some yoga, don't worry. Coming back to Dandasana, just take a moment here. Feel actually the stability and the connection between the legs and the pelvic floor in Dandasana. I love Dandasana. I think it's an unsung hero of the Yoga Asana library. So we're pushing out through the heels and we're opening the soles of the feet. That trying to stand up as if you're standing on the floor. That's really good for opening and spreading the toes and the feet and connecting. As we do that, we feel the inner thighs switch on, and we maybe feel the pelvic floor switch on, and then we can lift on the pelvic floor. We can draw the lower belly in, we can draw the lower back in and lift up through the spine and feel this incredible intelligence through our lower body and into our upper body. And breathe. And when we really work with our deep structural integrity, our breath can be freer because we're supported, we're solid, we're stable, so we can be freer. So feel that deep diaphragmatic breath or deep thoracic breath. And then from here, we're going to just roll to one side again, come onto our hands and knees. We'll do a few cat-cows to come more into just mobilization. So inhale, looking up to the cow, exhale to the cow. Just a few times. And at the end of your next exhale, return to neutral. Step your right foot behind you on the ball of the foot and really activate the right leg by pressing down through the sole of the foot. Really feel this is a foot opener, activating that leg, fascial line, and feel how it moves into the hand versus abdominis, lifting the lower belly up, feeling the pelvic floor lift up, being super stable. And then try not to move the pelvis too much as we just lift up the right leg. So try not to hammock the belly, overarch the lower back, try not to hike up the right hip too much. And if you wish, extend the left arm forward. And then feel that stretch, another line of fascia from left fingertips to right heel. But focusing most of all on this hinge of the body, keeping it stable and breathing deep. And exhale, release. And the same on the other side, so coming in stages, extending the left leg out. Feel it as a toe stretch, so we're pressing down through that through the sole, the toe joint, the toe pads. We're not doing that thing where we press and take the heel back. We are stretching the heel back, but we're just not moving the shoulders back away from there. The shoulders stay above the wrist in this version. We really activate the leg by pressing actively back through the sole, through the toe pad of the left foot. And then we find our core connection through that foot activation, and then we lift the leg. And we try not to move anything as best we can in the hinge of the body, in the pelvis, in the belly, in the lower back. Everything working together, and then maybe raising that right arm as well. So at each time you make a change to the posture, just check in. Has anything changed in the hinge of the body? Did my belly drop when I reached my arm forward? Did my lower back overarch, etc.? Breathe deep. And exhale, release everything down. Keep your left knee where it is and pivot the left foot off the floor. Is this what I want to do? Yes, it is. And extend your right foot to the end of the mat. And we're going to come up to a modified side plank. So reach your right hand up to the ceiling. Draw the lower belly in towards the spine. Elongate the tailbone. I'm going to work with the foot. So it's like we're working with the lower back, but through foot awareness. So your right foot. Imagine 4 corners of that right foot, below the big toe pad, below the little toe pad, on the inside and the outside of the heel. It's like we're stamping down those 4 corners as best we can. And at the same time, if you imagine drawing a diagonal line between the 2 diagonal points, the point that they would intersect in the middle of the foot, try and visualize that. So basically right at the center of the foot. And as much as we're pressing down through the outside, we're sucking up. It's like an energetic activation through that center point. And you should feel this travel up that fascia line up the leg, the inner thigh, the back of the lower leg, maybe into the pelvic floor. And then again, try not to move anything in the belly and the back. Just raise the right leg so it's in line with the right hip. Press down actively through the left hand to lift the side waist, the left side waist away from the floor. Press out through that right heel. Spread and open the right toes. And exhale, release everything down. Come back to the center. Same on the other side. So we pivot the right knee and the right foot comes off the mat. We extend the left foot to the end of the mat. Ideally, make sure the foot's on one plane, so it's either all on the mat or all off the mat, and take the left hand up. And then work with the foot. Let this all come from the foot. Find those 4 corners, press them down. Imagine the 2 diagonal opposite corners linked by a line, and imagine where those 2 lines intersect, right in the center of your foot. And then imagine that you're pressing equally through the 4 corners and sucking up energetically. It's actually the transverse arch of the foot. It is actually a real activation we're doing here of muscle and fascia, but it's also like a more of a subtle energetic lift as well that's felt all the way into the deep core. And then again, press actively through the right hand, lift the right side body away from the floor. Try not to move anything in the belly and the back as you lift the left foot up in line with the hip. Pressing out through the heels, internally rotate that left leg so your toes, which are spreading and wide and open, and the foot is flexed, are pointing forward, not up. And breathing, and exhale, release. Well done. And then tuck the toes, and if you need to, if your toes are stubborn, use your hands to make sure that the little toe and the 4th toe are also tucked under. And then we're going to come into a knees together, toes tucked version of child's pose. So stretch the hands forward, stretch the fingertips wide. So it's like the feet is being stretched and active, and the hands as well. We can also kind of feel the same thing in the hands. So we're stretching and opening the feet here, but we can feel that same sense of this activation of the hands, that we're pressing down through the fingertips and the heel of the hand, so the perimeter of the hand, and the knuckles, the base of the knuckles, but right in the center of the palm is like an energetic lift. And this should make the arms feel really firm and active. And we're stretching the foot fascia. Deep breath. And then slowly, I'm going to walk the hands back to the knees. And this is that torture posture. So come up as far as you want. You can keep the hands forward. You might be able to get the hands onto the thighs, but you need to keep the shoulders forward, or you might be able to come all the way up. Okay, so just feel that in your body. Try to keep the knees together, all the way up to the most intense, because you've got the whole of the weight of the body like a plumb line right down into that toe joint. So lean forward if you need. What tends to happen is overarching of the spine here, which means we lose that core connection, and therefore we lose that fascial line of the leg. So drop the tailbone, connect your deep core. Maybe you'll feel something on the inner thighs. Breathe deep. We're going to try and take 3 more breaths. Come out early if you need. Okay, and then slowly come forward. Ease yourself out of that. Very slowly. Come out of the toe. Stretch and come to just gently put the toenails on the floor and sit the heels back. The hips back onto the heels. Okay? And that just needs to be done gently because we're going from one extreme to the other. This might be quite tight for you already if you've got tight front of the feet. If you've worn a lot of high heels in your life, kneeling can be quite difficult. And generally the feet can feel quite tight. So if it's too much, again, lean forward. So we just, here might be enough, Vajrasana. But otherwise, we take our other little foot fascia stretch where we take the hands back and we lift the knees. We stretch the front of the ankle. And maybe we lift the hands, but only if we feel really safe and stable here. Lifting out of the lower back. So all through today's class, really feel that connection between front body and back body, that they're drawing together to support the spine from both sides. So we don't have to overwork the lower back. We're also using the front of the body. Slowly bringing the knees down, bringing the hands forward, tucking the toes, which might feel a little bit weird and loose and floppy and odd. This is good. Come back to downward dog. So in downward dog, we're looking back to our feet so we can see what they're doing. We want to be spreading the toes again. So always this sense of broadening across the toes, creating as much space between the toes. Pressing down through the center of the heel. So it doesn't matter if the heels don't touch the floor, but we want it to feel like if they did touch the floor, it would be right in the center of the back of the heel. So this is the heel strike. When we walk, ideally in an aligned body, we want to be placing right at the center of the heel down first. But most of us, it will be more towards the outside or the inside. And then again, this travels up to create asymmetries in the rest of the body. So we can practice this alignment in our yoga postures so we know what it feels like in our other activities. Drawing up on the kneecaps. And then come high on the toes, bend the knees, press through the hands to send the lower ribs towards the thighs. Feel that as a lovely extension of the spine, but also like a real stretch of the toe joints. And then lifting up, come high on the toes and come forward to the plank, open up to the plank. Feel the strength of this whole core midline working together. We press backwards actively through the balls of the feet. This activates the legs and sends that activation up to the pelvic floor. And then bending the knees again, return to that bent leg, downward dog, stretching the toe joint. We'll just do that one more time. So really bend the knees as deeply as you can here, bringing the heels as far forward as possible to stretch the toes. And then lift high. Bring the weight forward, shoulders over the wrists, strong legs, and feel again like you're just activating this whole system with pressing back actively through the balls of the feet. Feel that switch on everything else. Feel its connection. Great. And then back to downward dog, just normal downward dog. And this isn't going to be for everyone. This isn't for you. Just take a child's pose, stay in downward dog, or repeat what we just did. But for those who can, we're going to try rolling over the toes completely and coming into upward dog. So if you do have lower back issues, this might not be for you. So we come high onto the toes, shoulders over the wrist, but this time we kind of come further forward, drop the hips down, chest moves forward, look up. Very strong in the lower back, and then we roll back over, moving from our core back to downward dog. Any doubts about this, don't do it. It's very strong. If you happen to have two blocks, we're going to do it one more time. If you happen to have two blocks, it's a lot easier and actually nicer to put the hand on the blocks, even if you don't need them, because it just creates more space. So again, come high onto the toes. At some point, we kind of flip. We roll onto the front of the feet, drop the hips, chest moves forward, look up, and then exhale, move from your core, roll back to downward dog. Okay, just take a moment. And from here, look forward, bring the right foot forward between the blocks, lower the left knee to the floor. For today, you could keep that back foot tucked under, because it gives you an extra foot fascia stretch. Again, even if you don't normally, if you happen to have two blocks, what we're going to do today is going to feel actually more, you'll get more out of it, possibly, if you use them, but you don't have to. So we're going to move the ankle joints. We're going to inhale, look up, we're going to flow with the breath. Exhale, come back to half splits. Flexing that right foot, so you don't move the heel, you just draw the toes to the shin. Inhale, planting the foot, coming forward. We want the knee to travel forward of that ankle if possible, so we challenge that ankle joint. Exhale, coming back. Doing that one more time with your breath. Inhale, crescent moon, knee travels forward. Exhale, toes to shin. Great. And then bring that right foot down again. Again, stay with the blocks if you have them. Tuck the back toe under, lift the back knee. Really draw the left heel to the back of the room. Elongate that seam in the inner thigh. And then we're going to inhale, look up. Exhale, same as before really. Toes to the shin, and drop the head towards the shin, but into Parsvottanasana this time. Inhale, come forward. Knee above the ankle now. Exhale, straighten that front leg as much as you can, toes to shin. Back heel descends to the floor, but even if it doesn't touch, one more time. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, Parsvottanasana. Great. And then from here, we're going to just step the left foot to join the right. Look up, lengthen the spine. Exhale, drop the head. And then we'll do the same on the other side. So step the right foot back, bring the right knee down, maybe keeping that toe tucked under today. Using blocks if you have them, it's much more pleasant. Inhale, look up, drawing the shoulders back, chest forward. Exhale, keep the heel where it is, toes to shin. Really express the toes as well, so flex the toe joints as well. Inhale back, really spread and widen the toes as you plant that foot back down. Exhale back with your breath. One more time with your breath. Inhale, come into the low lunge, letting the knee slide and glide forward of the ankle. Exhale, coming back, express and open the toes here. Bring the sole of the foot down, really spread the toes as you plant it down, tuck the back toe under, lift the knee, draw the right heel to the back wall as you draw the left knee to the front wall, really opening up the hinge of the body here. And it's like you could leap off that back foot. The back toe pad's very active. It's a lot of activation here. And then we inhale, look up. Exhale, straightening the left leg as much as possible, toes to shin, drop the head. Inhale forward, planting those toes consciously in the left foot as you come down. Exhale back. One more time with your breath. Beautiful. Nice, everybody. And then planting the left foot down, load up the back leg, take a big step forward, right foot joins left. Inhale, look up, lengthen. Exhale, drop the head. Bend the knees deep. Come into the chair. Release the hands, take the hands up as high as they'll go. And then we want to put the weight into the heels more than the toes, but not lifting the toes. Drop the tailbone, draw the lower belly in, lift on the pelvic floor, extend up through the fingertips and look towards your fingertips and stay for 3. Squeeze the inner thighs together, 2. And 1. Inhale, straighten the legs. Exhale to mountain pose. I'm going to change my screen. And find a really kind of foot focused mountain pose. Okay. So all this detail we've been looking at, we're spreading the toes, we're finding those 4 corners of both outer and inner edge of the heel, bottom of the toe pads of the big toe and little toe pad. We're pressing down and we're sucking up at the center. We're feeling that immediately switch on the legs. Maybe you feel it in the pelvic floor. Check your pelvic floor is neutral, that you're not tipping the water out the front, tipping the water out the back, keeping it neutral. And then feel how when we're really stable in our core, there's more of a sense of freedom in the breath and the chest. We can draw the shoulders back and down, feel the neck free, and just feel a deeper breath here. I'm just going to cherry pick some postures, some standing postures that help us work with this. So when you're ready, we're going to step the left foot back, so you're facing the long edge of your mat. We're going to come into triangle and into half moon balance. So again, you might want to have a block handy by the outside of your right foot. Legs not too wide, feet not too wide. Turn left foot in, right foot out. And again, we're consciously placing the feet down today. We're extending and opening the toes, sucking up through the middle of the foot, pressing down through the perimeter. Inhale here, exhale, slide to the right. Bring the right hand down, left hand up. Lots of awareness in the feet, the toes, the legs, and the core. But today, more activating, initiating the core from the feet, from the legs and the feet. See if it feels any different. Deep breaths. And then bringing that left hand down to the left hip, turn to face your right foot, using a block if you need, forwards and to the outside of the right foot. We take the hand down to the floor or block. We start to step in the back foot until the right hip is above the right leg. And then we press down through the right foot, suck up through the center as we lift that left leg up in line with the hip. So we've kind of been here already, but on our knees, this kind of shape. So again, that left leg is internally rotated. We're spreading the toes, flexing the left foot, and the toes are facing forward. And then we raise the left hand. If we wish, we'll keep it on the hips. And just keep your awareness in your right foot. The more we work with the foot, the more you're going to feel this, the more the leg muscles are going to feel it as well, fatigued and even into the core. One more breath if you can. And then from here, release the left hand to the hip, bend the standing leg, bring the left foot down. Inhale your way up and just move straight into this kind of backwards triangle. We bring the left hand to the left leg and reach the right hand to the wall behind, just for a couple of breaths. And inhale, coming up. And we'll go to the other side. So bring your block with you if you know you're going to need it. Turn the right foot in, spreading the toes. Turn the left foot out, spreading the toes. Suck up through the center, press down through the perimeter of the feet. Inhale here. Exhale, slide the torso to the left. Left hand comes down, right hand comes up. So if we're more active and aware and pliable and open in our feet and legs, then everything else in the body should feel more easeful, more light and graceful. So if we're not connected to our feet, a posture like this could feel really heavy in the upper body. We just could feel like all the weight slumping into that left hand and shoulder, and everything feels a bit collapsed. But if we're really working with that activation, that sucking up at the center of the foot, then this is going to help feel, this actually runs up the whole of the body to the base of the cranium, base of the skull. So the whole of this posture should feel lighter just from really working your feet here. And the breath should be freer. Explore, experiment, be curious. Okay, and then from here, release the right hand to the right hip, turn to face the left leg, bend the left knee, bring the weight forward, your hands come into the floor so that when you come up, it's going to be about underneath your shoulder, and come up by pressing down through the foot. Feel the roots to rise feeling that we normally press down, and the lighter it is to lift that right foot. And then we activate the right leg as well by pressing out through the heel, internally rotating the right leg, spreading the toes, raising the hand if we wish. Don't forget the belly. We're activating the core from the feet, but we can still consciously draw the lower belly in, elongate the tailbone, connect with the pelvic floor, the usual things. Breathe deep. Notice if the muscles switched off on that right leg, right foot. One more breath if you can. And then release the right hand to the right foot, bend the standing leg, bring the right foot down. Inhale, come up, just slide straight into our backwards triangle, right hand. Try not to dump the weight into that right hand though. Try to be super active in the feet and the legs so it still feels quite light. And inhale, come up to the center. Do a quick time check. Okay, we're good. So we'll just do a couple of more standing postures and then come down. So we'll take a wider stance and we're going to do warrior 2. So turning left foot in, right foot out, inhale, and then exhale, bend the right leg. So your right knee is above the right ankle now. And it's a bit harder now in this position, but we want to try to get the same feeling. We're pressing down through the four corners of that back foot. Sometimes it can be hard to feel that pressure in the little toe edge, but we do what we can. And we feel that suction that's traveling up the leg to the pelvic floor and the deep core. And hopefully we feel the lightness that we might not always feel when we work with this activation. And on the front leg, again, working to press down the four corners, sucking up on the middle of the foot. I actually like to particularly press down through the heel. I do it more as a tripod in this posture. So there's like a point underneath the big toe pad, a point underneath the little toe pad, and one point at the back of the heel. And I really press down, especially through that back middle of the heel point. And that helps me feel it more in the thigh, but that's just me. Experiment. One more breath. We're looking forward over that middle right finger. And let's just come into side angle pose while we're here. Right hand to right elbow to thigh, or right hand to floor. Left upper arm up and over, and then feel that connection between pressing down through the outer edge of the left foot, sucking up through the middle of the left foot, and that sucking up feeling traveling up and out through the left fingertips. When we work with fascia, we can start to kind of feel connections through seemingly distant or disparate or unconnected parts of the body. Inhale, come up, straightening the right leg. Turn the right toes in, the left toes out. Make sure the toes are as spread as they can be. Inhale, open into the fingertips. Exhale, bend the left leg. Change your position if you need, so the left knee is above or behind the ankle. Find the foot activation in the back foot. Find the foot activation in the front foot. Feel the pelvis neutral. Breathe deep. Look over your middle left finger. Trying to feel a lightness in this strong posture. We're working intelligently with our core, how it's supposed to work, how these interconnected parts are supposed to work together, so that we can move with grace and ease. And then exhale into Parsvakonasana, side angle pose. Hand to the floor if you prefer, in front or behind the ankle. But keep pressing through both feet. Feel the connection between right fingertips and active right foot, breathing deep. And then inhale, come back. Bringing the toes, left toes in, walk the feet together. We've got one more posture standing. We're going to do a balance and explore what this feels like in the balance. So, pressing down, we'll start on the left leg. Press down through the four corners of the left foot, suck up through the center. And as you do that, you might even feel the left leg switch on and this kind of spaciousness occur around the left hip because it's not so heavy and dense and compressed. We root down to rise up. Left hand on the hip, slide or pick up the right foot and put it into position. And as you do that, try not to lose the structural integrity of the left foot and leg. And bring the palms together. Keep that awareness. Try to not scrunch up the left toes. Try to keep them broadening, spreading. Inhale, take the fingers up above the head. Exhale, release. Obviously, in a balance, there's going to be more micro adjustments needed in the foot, in the ankle, and this is great in itself. This is how the feet are supposed to work, all those little micro adjustments to keep us balanced, keep us safe. So balance is a great foot connection, foot health, ankle health. Keep that active pressing down. Inhale, palms touch. Exhale, hands to the sternum. Inhale. Exhale. Place the right foot next to the left. Spread the toes back to a foot conscious Tadasana. Tune into your right foot, tune into your right leg. Start at the foot. It's like we're organizing the body from the foundation upwards. So if we press down through the foot, we feel the legs switch on. When we feel the legs switch on, we feel the deep core, the pelvic floor and the transverses switch on, and the hip muscle feel more stable. And then we lift the left leg. We're pressing the left heel actively into the internal right thigh, stimulating the blood flow on this inner right thigh, where all this muscle is being used. Inhale, hands up through the center line. Exhale, open. Just observe and accept all the little adjustments that the foot's making, the right foot, the right leg, in kind of awe. I'm always in awe of its intelligence, that it knows exactly what to do, exactly how much, which muscle to contract and how much to keep me balanced. Doesn't always work, but you know, it's amazing. But within that unsteadiness, see if we can keep some kind of connection to what we're doing here and see if it makes any difference to the posture. Inhale, palms touch. Exhale, hands back to the chest. Inhale. And exhale, release. Foot conscious. Okay. So we'll come down to the floor and we'll just tend to the lower back with gentle back bend and forward folds and twists. Okay, so just come and sit yourself down. We'll come back to that down. Oh, change angle. Come back to that Dandasana. Just have one final opportunity here. But it might not be the final opportunity, knowing me, but another opportunity to open the soles of the feet, spread the toes, firm the thighs, connect to the front and back core, open the chest. Breathe deep. And then without losing any of this, we just inhale, stretch the arms up. Pause here for a breath, feeling that it's our integrity in the lower body and our deep core that's enabling us to stretch up. And exhale, hinging from the hips, bending the knees if we need, bring the hands down. And if you have the potential to reach the feet with your hands, you can drape the hands over the toes and get that foot flex again. Or if you're nowhere near, you can do the same thing with a strap. And this is helping to open the soles of the feet as if we're standing on the ceiling, on the floor. You know, we've got the open soles and flex the ankles, articulate the ankles. Okay, so do what you can if you wish, option. And then just drop the head, come into Paschimottanasana. Another thing I like to do with my hands, if you've got your hands to your feet, is draw the toes towards the top of the foot, and also use my thumbs to press the big toe pad away, and my little fingers to draw the little toe pad towards me. For me, this squares off the sole of the feet more, and as I've observed in many other bodies, a lot of people have that tendency for the soles of the feet to collapse and close towards each other. So you need to open and spread. Draw the little toes towards this big toe away. Deep breaths. Inhale, lifting up. From here, we're going to come back up to upright and bring the sole of the right foot to the outside of the left knee, keeping the left leg and foot alive. And just clasp the front of the knee with the hands for a moment, lift up through the spine, draw the shoulders back, and try to press the big toe of the right foot down. So try to keep the sole of the right foot down. And then without letting go of the left knee, so that we keep this lift in the spine, we just take the right hand behind. And then we can inhale, stretch up through the left and twist a little bit deeper from the navel, maybe hugging the knee into the crook of the elbow, or maybe pressing the elbow to the outside of the knee or the thigh. But drop down through the sit bones, lift up through the spine, look over your right shoulder, draw the lower belly in, and breathe deep. Still keeping left foot focused. Pressing down through both feet will help us feel more grounded and anchored here, which will actually enable us to twist deeper and breathe deeper. If you press the big toe of the right foot down, you'll really feel it in the inner thigh. Well, I do. And this is that activation. We're activating the inner arch of the right foot now, which is another key activator of the foot that links us in with this deep structural intelligence. And then inhale, unravel. Just put the fingertips down, take an inhale at the center. And exhale, just easy twist the other way. Have the left hand behind you, just drape the right elbow on the right knee, but still try to be disciplined in the feet. I know it makes it a bit more tiresome if you've had enough of the whole foot thing. It's fine to drop out, but if you've got the energy, just keep going with it. You know, it's a living experiment, our yoga practice. We see the effects are through our direct experience, how it affects our body, how it affects our mind after the practice and over time. Now come back to the center. We're just going to swap sides, extend the right leg, bring the left foot to the outside of the right knee. And again, get the feet sorted first. So press out through the right foot, try to again square off the sole of the foot. You can just be clasping onto the front of the left shin here. And I know the reason it's hard for many people to press the big toe down, in this case on the left side, is because this inner seam, this core, people's core connection is not great. And this includes the inner seam of the leg. So I'm often encouraging us to strengthen this seam. So pressing down through the left big toe is part of that, strengthening the inner thighs and the deep core. So from here, keep hold of the left knee with the right hand, take the left hand behind you, twist a little bit, and then without losing any of that integrity, we can inhale, stretch up, exhale, twist from the navel and come into the deepest twist we wish to go to. So either hugging the knee in the elbow or elbow to the outside. Sometimes, especially when we're working more with this, like this level of detail, less is more. So you can just put the knee in the crook of the elbow and you've got more space to really play with these themes of the feet, pressing down through the left big toe, squaring off the right sole of the foot, pressing down through the pelvis, lifting up through the spine, drawing the belly up, breathing deep. Inhale, unwind, come back to the center, you exhale, and then fingertips on the floor, take a deep full inhale at the center, and as you exhale, just come into that easy counter twist the other way, resting the left elbow on the left knee, keeping with the foot focus if you can, looking over your or towards your right shoulder. You might even find your left inner thigh starts to shake a little bit after sustained pressing of the left big toe. This is a good thing. This is strength building. And then inhale to the center. And just for balance, let's come into an inner thigh release. Let's come to Baddha Konasana. So bringing the soles of the feet together, this should feel quite a delicious counter stretch, unless, of course, this isn't your favorite posture and it won't feel delicious. Hands can be behind the buttocks to help you bring the buttocks forward towards the heels. Take hold of the outer edges of the feet, lift up through the spine, and wriggle the shoulders back, wriggle the chest forward. And no force, no bouncing, we're just kind of allowing gravity to draw the outer thighs down, and this is releasing our inner thighs. Doesn't mean we can't retain a core connection, even when we're seated. Still need to be stable, so we can still use the front body to support the back body, to help the spine. Stay in the center in its neutral position, so we don't slump. Deep breaths. And while we're here, you can just use your thumb to just prod the feet a little bit. Give your feet a little bit of a massage. Find the tender spots. Say hello to the fascia, especially the inner arch. The center of the foot. The inner arch in reflexology is linked to the spine. The whole inner seam of the foot is linked to the spine. So it's often very tight. Posture. So we're just going to do a little bit of gentle back bending. We're not going to do anything too dramatic today, so we'll come onto the belly and we'll do the prone ones because this is more about the stability. So just come to lie on your belly. Come straight up to the sphinx of the elbows underneath the shoulders. Again, find the same activation in the hands that we're working with in the feet. So spread the fingers, press the fingertips and thumb tips and the base of the fingers and thumb down and the heel of the hand down, and have a sense that all of that's pressing down on the outside, but the center's actively lifting up. This is what gives us that feeling that I'm always trying to describe, of pulling the floor towards us without anything moving. It's part of the same activation, really. This pressing down to pull up creates a lot of activation in the arms this time, the front chest. Press the pubic bone down, press lightly down through the toenails to activate the legs. Breathe deep. And from here, lowering down, we're just going to work with the locus. We'll just do the legs first to begin with. So you can just rest the head on the back of the hands, press the pubic bone down, lift the lower belly muscle fibers, and then inhale, lift the legs, just the legs. And then we're going to inhale, bring the legs apart, exhale together. Inhale, abduction, away from the center, exhale, adduction. 3 more if you can. I know it's not very comfortable on the pubic bone, exhale together. You need an extra blanket under your pubic bone or fold the mat, then you'll be doing this. But try to really activate the legs, strong legs, and feel that traveling up towards the pelvic floor. But when you've done 5, release, just relax, wobble the hips if you need. And then we're going to do full locust, and we're going to just really focus on keeping the soles of the feet facing up towards the ceiling. Like in Dandasana or Paschimottanasana, they often close in towards each other, and we want to, it's an external rotation of the legs to keep the soles of the feet facing the ceiling, not each other. So bring the hands to the side now, bring the forehead down, press the pubic bone down, and then inhale, lift everything up. Try to keep the big toes touching or close, and then externally rotate. So it's like the outer hips rolling down, inner thighs rolling up, soles of the feet rolling up to face the ceiling, away from each other. Breathe deep. Couple more breaths if you can, but come down whenever you need. And exhale, release. And then turn, have your hands by the side, turn to face your left. This is one of my favorite counter postures at the moment. Bring your left arm up into the cactus with the palm facing down, so elbow in line with the shoulders, right angle, bend on the elbow. And then slide your left knee up towards the left elbow, so the inner ankle of the left foot's touching the floor, facing the floor. And we get just a big release on this inner thigh seam that we've been really activating. Just let the legs and the feet be relaxed. If this posture doesn't feel good for your lower back, or your inner groin is too tight, then by all means just stay with the legs together. Relax the belly, the face, the jaw. And then slowly slide that leg back down to where it came from. Swap your arms over and your head over, so left hand by the side. Turn to face the right, bring your right hand up into that cactus. Slide the right knee up towards the right elbow, the inner ankle facing the floor. And this is all about release. If it's really uncomfortable, like I know, I don't have the biggest cleavage, so if you've got a big cleavage, it might not be very comfortable. So if it's not comfortable, just stay in a comfortable position, releasing position here, just child's pose or on your belly, because we want this to feel like a release, a relaxation, especially for that inner seam of the leg. So if this is really not good for you, wide knee child's pose is a good alternative to release that inner seam. And sliding the right knee down. Rest through the hands. We're going to come up to kneel. I'm going to do one more back bend, but again, more of a gentle back bend. We could do this again, toes tucked under, if we wanted to stretch the soles of the feet one more time, or if we also stretch the front of the feet, which do you need to stretch more, front or back? It's the back bend's a little bit trickier if the toes are tucked under, but again, if you've got 2 blocks, we could use the blocks as support. So I'll just show you your 2 options. There's toes tucked under. We're going to bring the hands behind. So it's like a baby camel. In camel, our hands would be on our feet, but they're going to be behind. So we could be here, and then we lift the hips. We don't need to have the blocks here, but the blocks make it a lot more easy. Or if it's too intense, because it's harder for the back and the feet possibly, then just normal kneel, with or without the blocks, lift the hips. So even though you might say it's a less intense version than camel, for me it's a bigger back bend. It's more beautiful because it's more spacious. There's more space in the lower back, so we get the sense of that even arc of the spine more than that compression that we get in the lower back with camel. So just have a little go. It's for me, you get this just lovely freedom in the chest. And just stay for a few breaths. And then slowly lowering the hips when you're ready to come out. Okay, just come back to kneeling. Just find Vajrasana, neutralize the pelvis. So usually we're kind of lordotic here or anterior tilt, water flowing out the front. So we want to neutralize the pelvis, bring the hands to the thighs, close the eyes, and just notice how you feel. So all this work with the feet, which is actually, I'm coming to realize, very profound work. There's a reason the feet are so sacred in yoga. You touch the lotus feet of your guru, which I confess I have done. And it was quite an incredible experience. Everything kind of starts and ends in the feet. Dropping in how your body feels, how your mind feels, how your breath feels, how your feet feel. The start of the class. Ready, just going to come onto our backs. So take your time. Let's run back. We're going to do that same thing we did seated but lying down. So we're going to just take the feet mat distance wide, let the inner knees rest, constructive rest posture, and just pause here for a moment because this is another wonderful posture for really releasing the inner thighs and the deep core, which we've really been activating today. And you can be a bit more chilled out with the feet. You don't need to press, you don't need to find that activation in the feet. We want to relax everything here. Some slow deep breaths. And usually it's easier to relax muscles when we've really activated them first. And maybe you feel like you drop a bit heavier into this constructive rest pose or into the support of the floor. And we're going to inhale at the center, just making sure your arms are out the way. Exhale the knees to the right, keeping the feet wide. Inhale, center. Exhale. So we did this but seated, so it's a lot easier now. We're not going to confuse the core so much. Just keep that going with the breath. You still might find that you kind of move a little bit forward incrementally, but nowhere near as much as we did seated. Just allow yourself to move. Come back to the center from the left. Next time you come up from the left. We'll finish with one more twist. Bringing the legs up. We're going to cross the left thigh in front of the right. Maybe hook the foot behind the right calf or just squeeze the inner thighs together. Press the right foot down into the mat. Hoik the hips ever so slightly over to the left and allow the knees to come down over to the right. And we might rest the right hand onto the left thigh. Extend the left arm away. Look over the left shoulder. Again, this posture, especially if you've managed to bind fully, even though we're adducting, which suggests we're activating the inner seam of the legs, because it's bound, you can kind of relax the legs in this one a little bit. If you're not bound in the lower leg, you will have to work a little bit harder. It's great for the lower back. And we adduct and then twist. One more deep breath. Find your core, draw the lower belly in to support the back as you come back to the center. Move intelligently. unwrap the legs, press the feet down to bring the hips to the center, extend the legs up again, cross the right thigh in front of the left. If available, hook the foot around the back of the left calf, press the left foot down, move the hips a few centimeters to the right, let the knees drop to the left. Extend your right arm away, look over your right shoulder, possibly just resting that left hand on the right thigh. And deep breath. Drawing that lower belly in, inhale back to the center, unravel the legs, plant the feet, bring everything to central alignment, and then one more symmetrical posture of your choice. Before Shavasana, you could just hug the knees in, or if you're ready for Shavasana, just come straight there, or Happy Baby, and my usual two go-to final postures, just for a few breaths. Both great for opening the lower back. And then stretch those inner thighs. And then when you feel ready, find your Shavasana. If there's any tension in the lower back, consider a bolster under the knees. I've just seen the time. Sorry, it's 14 minutes past. If anybody has to go at exactly 1/4 past, you've got a minute. Does anyone wave your hand if you have? Okay, so we'll just give it a few extra minutes. Give ourselves 2 minutes or so here. I will still say when we're at half an hour, in case people join the recording. Essentially aligned. Let any breath control go. Release your jaw. Okay, it's now 1/4 past for those who are on a time deadline. We're at half an hour. Eyes just continuing to release the body, relax. time and you wish to, please feel free to stay here longer. If you'd like to close with me, deepening the breath, moving the body slowly back to wakefulness, taking any stretches that feel good. Returning to seated. Those finishing with me, if you're still down, don't worry, just closing from where you are and your own way when you're ready. If you're closing with me, just bringing the palms together, just deep gratitude to your amazing body, your amazing feet, carry you around, amazing intelligence in your body, keeping you stable from within, and anything else you feel grateful for this evening. We're wrapping the practice up in the frequency of gratitude. And then we feel complete. Opening the eyes again. Thank you for sharing this practice and bringing this practice to us. Namaste.